bring the kids back to the fireside. It meant Grandma was saying, "Ts'akë kwin ghineendïl."
What we're doing today is we're following the knowledge passed down to us from our ancestors, and we're making it stronger so that our nation becomes stronger.
I think returning to the fireside is finding your own identity, whatever that may be. For Wet'suwet'en, it's coming back into the feast hall and knowing where you belong in your clan and house group, and to know your aunties and your matriarchs. It's to know the territory that you're on, feel connected, and to have that authentic love and care from the community.
To me, it's connecting the disconnected back to our Anaknut and our Wet'suwet'en ways of being, reconnecting them to our culture, reconnecting them to our hereditary chiefs, our kinship, their immediate family, their extended family.
Tsa'akë, it's a nusutlan sa orderzi. I just said in my language that when we're out in the Yinta, our ancestors are there, and they're the ones that are healing us as Wet'suwet'en people. And when we walk around the Yinta, that's where the healing is. That's where our tradition is, our culture and our language comes. And that's where the spirit of our ancestors come within us, and that's when we become one as Wet'suwet'en members.
Social responsibility is something my grandmother taught me, my aunt taught me, living and breathing it. I also took in my nieces and nephews when they were at a young age, and mom wasn't in a place to care for them. So that my grandma was like, she just said, "You're doing it." And I had no choice. And so I just took on that responsibility. And that's what we want the rest of our nation to be able to normalize again, which is just taking on social responsibility. So none of our children end up in stranger care.
Also at that time, the parents also suffered greatly. The families who were a very close-knit family, many living in one big house, where you had your extended family members right there with you. There was grandparents, aunts and uncles and cousins and aunties helping to raise the child. And when the children were taken from that setting, that was the first big trauma. The major trauma that set the stage for all other traumas that were suffered by the children at that time as they grew up, their children, as they grew up, their grandchildren. And that's what is called today intergenerational trauma. It's 2023, and we're still suffering from that day when my father was first taken away to the residential school. That's how long it has been.
Over the years, I've seen a lot of disconnect between people who have been impacted by MCFD, people who have intergenerationally lived away from our community for a number of years. We're seeing a lot of negative impacts when they're not connected to their land, their culture, their language, their families. With that disconnection comes a disconnection from self, which ends up resulting in, at times, addiction. It ends up resulting in different unhealthy ways of coping, reconnecting them with that culture, with that language, with their, like who they are as Wet'suwet'en, helps alleviate some of the pain that they feel or experience from that disconnect.
No, then tasket like
In my work, I'm really trying to advocate for creating anew and to look at colonial systems for what they are, and even impose systems that we adopted ourselves, like the Wiihanuxsim, and looking back at our ancestral ways and how do we build a better future for tomorrow.
Yeah. So how is it passed on from generation to generation is the lack of understanding, the lack of knowing, and that's where our program's playing a huge role in, reaching out to our membership in the urban centers and saying, this is your clan, this is your father clan, bringing in the reconnections worker and doing a genealogy, and then you should see their face light up, and that's breaking the cycle all in itself. Just really reconnecting them to who they are and where they come from.
I just wanted to say that Wiihanuxsim is really strong because of our culture and language and traditions. Without it, we're not Wet'suwet'en. And that's a strong foundation of how our work is being done through the Wiihanuxsim, and through the ancestors. They've continuously told us that we are here for the children and the future children and the future grandchildren. We're not here for ourselves, and that's the work that's being done today.
So when I think of our Wet'suwet'en jurisdiction moving forward, I see a Wet'suwet'en empowered system that is built in the vision of our hereditary chiefs, that maintains the communal society, our sense of social responsibility with each other, so that we're uplifting and empowering our people no matter where they reside. We do not leave anybody behind.
What I want you to know is that you're not alone. We have frontline workers. We have amazing workers across the province that are out there and working alongside you to make sure that you're not feeling alone, and that we are the voice, maybe a voice that you felt that you didn't have. We've got some amazing staff that are there to help you.
Wait. Let's come back together. Because this work that we're doing is very important work that we're doing. It's not for us. It's not for us to use in the future, but it's for our children. For our children's children, your grandchildren, their children, your great-grandchildren, and for those babies not yet born. That's who you're working for. That's who you're going to leave the Yentatu. That's who you're working for.